Hi guys, today I'm going to walk you through June 2018 Maths Paper 2 Foundation Tier. So let's get started. This is a calculator paper, so you are allowed to use the calculator if you need to. The first question, write 4/50 as a percentage. Well, 4/50 as a percentage, so if you need to convert a fraction into percentage, you can multiply the fraction with 1,000. So 50 goes into 100 2 times, and 4 times 2 is 8, so this is 8%. Next, write 1.59 correct to 1 decimal place. So that means you can have 1 digit after your decimal. And right now it's 5, but next to 5 is 9. So you need to add 1 and make that 1.6. So 1.6 is the answer. Next we have 3 to the power 5. That means you need to multiply 3 5 times to itself. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times another 3, and that will give you 243. So that is the answer. Write down 6-digit number that has its thousandth digit has to be 4. Well, so you need a 6-digit number. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this is units, tens, 100, 1,000 place value, and your thousandth digit must be 4, and you can use 4 just once. So the rest of the blank you can just fill in with any other number, but it cannot be 4 again. So this could be an example of a 6-digit number that has 4 as its thousandth digit. So many of you could think of any other different combination of numbers, and that would work as well. Change 35 centimeters to millimeters. So we need to multiply by 10, because 10 millimeters equals to 1 centimeter. So this is going to be 350. And then change 7,700 milliliters into liters. Now when you're doing this conversion, you must divide by 1,000, because 1,000 milliliters equals to 1 liter. So when you do that, so that means this is going to be 7.7 liters. And then 0.32 kilograms into grams. Well, 1,000 grams equals to 1 kilogram, so you need to multiply that by 1,000, and that is going to give you 320 grams. Next, so the number that Margaret is thinking about is odd. It is a factor of 36 and a multiple of 3. So stop thinking about the factors of 36. There are 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. 9 is also a factor of 36. 18 is a factor of 36. But that factor must be an odd number, so you need to cross out the even numbers. And the other condition is that that number has to be a multiple of 3. Well, 3 and 9 are two odd factors of 36, and they are certainly multiples of 3. So 9 and 3 are the numbers that Margaret is thinking about. So here we have to make a list of all possible outcomes of the game where these 3 people are going to play. Well, it could be that Mohsin is the first, takes the first place, and then we can say that maybe Yusuf can be second and Luke can be third. Another combination could be M, L, Y. Next, if Yusuf comes first, then it could be like that, or Luke can take the second place while Mohsin gets the third. And lastly, if Luke takes the first place, you could have Mohsin in the second and Yusuf third, or Yusuf takes the second place and Mohsin can go third. So these are the 6 possible outcomes of this game. Here we need to calculate the total amount of money Neil spends. Okay, so he is going to buy 30 pence. Now the price of pence, it says 6 for 82p. So because he's buying 30 pence, that means he needs 5 sets of pens, so he needs to take 5 times that. Next, he's going to buy 30 pencils, so he needs 2 sets of pencils because each set has 15 pencils. 30 rulers, and so that means he needs 3 sets of rulers. Pencil cases, well, they are sold at 37p each, so he's going to need 30 of these. So now let's do the multiplication. So now it's better if we convert everything into pound. This is already in pounds, so we don't need to do anything with this. Right, so now you need to take out your calculator and do this calculation, and I'm sure you're going to get 19.85 pounds as your final answer. Now here, this is average speed, distance, time question. So speed is distance over time. So distance is 186 and time is 3. So if you do this division, you get 62 miles per hour. And then how many miles does Sarah drive? You have your speed given and the time given. So the distance is going to be speed multiplied to the time. So 58 times 4, that is going to give you 232. Okay, next, write down all the prime numbers between 20 and 30. Well, 20, 21, 22, 23 is a prime number. 24, 25, 26, 27, no. 28, no. 29 is a prime number. 2 is the only even prime number. Is Catherine right? Yes, she is. Well, all the other even numbers like 4, 6, 8, 10, etc., they all have a factor of 2. So these numbers cannot be a prime. So it is obviously correct that 2 is the only prime number that is even. So you could say yes, 2 is a factor of all other even numbers. That should be good enough. Oops. Where was I? Right, now here we need to solve this. X plus x plus x is 3x, and that equals to 51. And so we now need to divide both sides by 3, and we'll get our answer. 17. Here you need to multiply both sides by 4, and that will give you y. 3 times 4 is 12. Next, first we should take away 7 from both sides. So that will be 2f equals 18, take away 7. So 2f is 11. And so if you divide both sides by 2, that will give you 5.5. All right, let's move on. Here we have a table below, and we need to draw an accurate pie chart for this information. And for that, you're going to need to calculate the angle for each sector of your pie chart. And before that, we need to find out what are the total of the number of fans here. So if we add these up, 11 plus 17 plus 8 is 36. So out of 36, there are 11 people who had a burger. So the angle for burger will be 11 divided by 36 times 360 degrees, because 360 degrees is the total angle And so if you divide by 36, if you divide by 36, you get 1, and you divide 360 by 36, you get 10, and so 11 times 10 is 110 degrees. And you do the same for the pi, so I'm going to do that here. 17 over 36 times 360. So that would mean 17 times 10, and that is 170 degrees. And for the hot dog, 8 over 36 times 360. And that will give us 80 degrees. And now you just need to use your protractor and your ruler, and I'm sure you'll be able to draw these sectors accurately. So it will be something like this: 110 degrees for burger, and the pi is around 170 degrees. Make sure to label these nicely. And hot dogs are 80 degrees. Yeah, so just need to be careful. Label the angles and the sectors correctly. Right. Okay, so here we have a probability question. So a total of 350 raffle tickets were sold, and Laura buys 12 of them. So that means that 350 take away 12. 338 other people have already bought the rest of the tickets. So the probability that Laura does not win the prize would be that someone out of these 338 tickets had won the prize. So the probability of Laura not winning is 338 out of the total 350. Okay. All right, another probability question. Well, so there are 45 workers in total, and 22 of them are male. So you have 22 here. And then, so the rest are female. So 45 minus 22, that's 23 female workers. And then 16 of the 34 right-handed workers are female. Okay, so 16 will be down here. And so the number of males that are right-handed, out of 34 right-handed workers, 16 of them are female. So 34 minus 16 will give us the number of workers who are right-handed male. So 18. And now to find out the left-handed workers who are male, we do 22 take away 18. That's 4. And then 23 take away 16. 7 are left-handed females. That's it. Okay. Now here, if you look at this picture, these two lines indicate that these two sides are equal. Now for an isosceles triangle, when two sides are equal, then the angles made down here are called the base angles. So in this case, X is actually not the base angle. The base is going to be AB. And so this has to be 63 degrees, not X. So you can explain by saying that angle BAC is the base angle, not X. And in here, right, so William writes that angle EGH is 57 degrees. Yes, that's correct. And the reason, he says, because corresponding angles are equal. Well, these are not corresponding angles, but these are alternate angles. So that is a mistake. It should be alternate here. And then, yeah, once you get that this is 57, all you need to do is subtract from 180 and you'll get your Y value. So this part is correct, but yes, the first reason that he has put is incorrect. Write down the correct reason. Well, the correct reason should be angle EGH is equal to 57 degrees because alternate angles are equal. So, well, this is a frequency table. So there are 7 bags containing 20 buttons. And so here the total is 20 times 7, and that is 140 buttons. And then the total here is 21 times 3, 63 buttons, and 22 times 1, 22 buttons. So now let's add these up, and whatever we get, we need to subtract that from the total number of buttons, 320. So the calculation is 320 take away the total of all the other buttons. So the total of 140 plus 63 plus 22. and this comes down to 95 buttons. Okay, so now to find the frequency, we now need to divide 95 by 19, and that equals to 5. So the missing number here is 5. So here we have the ingredients needed to make 30 biscuits. Well, if Lucas has the following ingredients, so if he has 900 grams of butter, how many sets of 30 biscuits can he make? So if you do 900 divided by 225, that is the amount of butter needed to make 30 biscuits. That is 4. And then let's check how many biscuits he could make with 1,000 grams of sugar. So if you divide that by 110 grams, that will give you 9.09. And then he has 1,000 grams of plain flour. So divide that by 275. That gives us 3.63. So it looks like the minimum is 3.63. So that means that he can make 3 batches of biscuits, and each batch would have 30 biscuits. So the greatest number of biscuits that he can make is going to be 90 with these ingredients. Now here we have to describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto B. So this looks like a reflection, and for reflection you need to mention the line of reflection. So this shape is exactly 3 squares away from the y-axis, and A is also 3 squares away from the y-axis in the opposite direction. So this is definitely a reflection in the y-axis. Now here we have a farmer, and his field is in the shape of a semicircle. Diameter is 50 meters. So if he needs to build a fence around the edge of the field, so he needs to build a fence around, and then so we need to find out what this total length of fence is going to be. So that means we need to find the circumference of this, and we need to half that, so that we'll get the length of half of the circumference. So let's start with that. Circumference is pi d. So pi times 50. That's 50 pi. And then he also needs to put a fence along the diameter. So that is going to be another 50 meters. But before that, we need to half the circumference because this is only a semicircle. So that is 25 pi plus 50 meters for the diameter. That will be the total length of fence that he's going to need. 29.86 per meter. All right. So the cost of fence 29.86 times 25 pi plus 50. So this is the calculation that we need to do. So that is going to be 29.86 times 128.539. Okay. And that gives us 30, well, actually it's a lot more, 3,838.20 pounds will be the cost of the fence. But we also need to pay 180 pounds for each days of work. And Jim takes 3 days. So for 3 days of work, 3 times 180, that's 540 pounds extra that needs to be paid to him. So now the total cost is 540 plus 3838.20, and that is 4378.20 pounds. Next we have this. So if you multiply them, you have to add the powers. So it's m to the power 7. In here, well, we need to multiply 5np cubed 3 times to itself. Well, so that is going to look like this. Don't forget the cube. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. And then n times n times n is n cubed. And then p cubed times p cubed times p cubed. So you need to add up the powers. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. And then 32 divided by 4, that is 8. Now when you are dividing thirds, you have to subtract the powers. So the power on Q is going to be 9 take away 3, that's 6. And the power on R will be 4 take away 1, which is 3. Now find the lowest common multiple of 40. Okay. So we can find the factors of 40. And 56. And then if you draw a Venn diagram, so you have 1, 2, 3 2's here and 3 2's over there. So it looks like eight is common to both the numbers, and we have 5 and 7. So the lowest common multiple, LCM, is 5 times 8 times 7, and that is 280. Now here, the highest common factor of A and B, so that is going to be, if we try and draw the Venn diagram, so the common numbers goes in the middle here. So we have 2 square, that is common. All right, so 2 square is common to both A and B. 3 is common, and you can have 1 5, and then if you multiply all of that, you get 60, and 60 goes here in the middle, so that is the HCF, 60. Okay, now we need to find the equation for L, so we need to do y equal to mx plus c. Now m is the slope and c is the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is right here, -6, so we can say that the line will have y equal to mx -6. Now we need to find the slope m. All right, so let's look at this point and that point, and we just do rise over run. So it looks like m is going to be 6 and over 2. So y equal to 3x minus 6 is the equation of this line. Okay. Right, so now we need to do this calculation. Well, VAT of 20% needs to be paid. So 20% of 8,500 is 1,700 pounds. So the total cost of this van is 8,500 plus the VAT, which is 10,200 pounds in total. And well, 12 equal payments of that, so 12 times 531.25, that is 6,375. This is what she pays in 12 months, 12 equal payments. So she must have given a deposit of that take away 6375. So this must have been the deposit that she had paid. So now we need to find the ratio of this 3825 to 6375. And now we need to simplify this ratio. Right, so we could start off by dividing by 5, because since these numbers are both ending in 5, if you divide by 5, that will give us a simpler ratio. So let's start off by dividing by 5. So that is 765 to and again you can divide by 5. And then we could divide by 3. And that gives us 51 to 85. And then if you divide by 17, you're going to get the simplest ratio. So what we have done here is divide by 5, again divide by 5, divide by 3, and divide by 17. Now this is about drawing the graph. So we first need to complete the table. So if you put x equal to -2 in your equation, you're going to get y equal to 0. If you put x equal to -1, you'll get y -4. And then this will be -6, -4, and if you put x equal to 3, you're going to get a 0. So now we are going to plot these points on the grid. So -3 was 6, -2 was 0, -1 was -4, 0 was -6, 1 was -6, 2 was -4, and 3 was 0. So we just need to join these points. Oops, you just have to be careful and draw a nice curve connecting all the points. There. That's done. Now it says use your graph to find estimates of the solution of this equation. So this was our y, and we have that equal to -2. So basically y equals -2. So we need to draw a line at y -2 on this same graph. So here is -2 on the y-axis. You have to take your ruler and draw a nice straight line that intersects with the original curve, and these are the solutions for that new equation. So you need to figure out these x coordinates from here. So that is going to be around 2.6 because each square is 0.5, and here this is going to be around -1.6. So these are the solutions, -1.6 and 2.6. Okay. All right. Now, pressure is force divided by area. Okay. 70 newtons acts on an area of 20 centimeters square. So that pressure is 70 over 20. So that is 3.5. And then if you decrease the pressure, increase the force by 10, so that means you have 80, the new force, and you increase the area by 10, so that is an area of 30. Now the pressure is 8 divided by 3. Okay. Now, what is the decrease of pressure as a percentage? So, let's see. 3.5 was the original pressure. Now the pressure is 8 divided by 3. Now 8 divided by 3, how much is that? 2.6667. So that is the decrease in pressure, and the original pressure was 3.5. So you have to remember that you need to put the original pressure down here, and then you multiply that by 100, and that is going to give you 23.8%. So it looks like Helen is not correct because the percentage was actually more than 20%, 23.8 exactly. Now here we have a triangular prism, and we need to work out the volume. Now, volume of a prism is area of the cross section times the length of the prism. Now we can see the length is 18, that's the length, and so the area of the cross section is going to be this triangle right here. This is a right angle triangle. So if we can find the base and do half base times height, that will give us the area of our cross section. Now we can use the Pythagoras theorem, and we'll be able to figure out the length of the base of this triangle. So 8.4 is the hypotenuse, So the hypotenuse square is going to be 7.2 square plus b square. And so b square will be 8.4 square, take away 7.2 square, and then b will be the square root of this difference, and that gives us b 4.326. And now the area of the cross section is half times the base 4.326 times the height of the triangle, which is 7.2. And with that, we have our calculator. We get 15.5736. And so now, in order to calculate the volume of the prism, we just need to do 15.5736 times the length of the prism, which is 18, and that is equal to 280.367. And we need to give our answer correct to 3 significant figures, and so that will be just 280 centimeters cubed. So that's the end of the paper. I hope you have understood everything. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'll try to explain it for you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.